in the NFL draft.
Hey, make us lunch. We're hungry.
Yo, everybody, you doing? King Dingbat here. And I hope everybody's having a wonderful new year, 2018, the year of the Dingbat. That's right, the year of the Dingbat is 2018. We're going to take Dingbatness to new heights and new levels never thought before. So, I hope everybody had a great holiday, great new year, all that good stuff. For me, I get so amped up about the holidays and Christmas. By the time New Year comes and goes, like I have a crash because, like, you know, I get so up for Christmas and the holidays that once it's over, it kind of takes me a while to get going again. But we're ready to roll. 2018, the year of the Dingbat. So let's do this. Now, before I start, I want to give a shout out and a thanks to the Sports Fury because they had me on to do the NFC wildcard picks this week. It was fun. It was a blast. And if you don't know who the Sports Fury is, if you don't know who they are, where you been? Where you been on the moon? Where you been hiding? How can you not know who the Sports Fury is? Go to their channel, check them out. I'll put the link in the description and sub them up. Those are great guys. They prime all the lives, all the primetime games. They stream all the, what the hell did I say? They stream all the live primetime games. Check them out. They're fun. They're a blast. And you won't be disappointed. Sub them up. And thank you to them, Josh and Sean, for having me on. I appreciate it. As always, anytime, it's a blast. Thank you. Now, what I want to do in this video is I want to make a case for Carson Wentz being the MVP. And maybe shave this stupid goatee. I feel like the devil with this thing. It's bushy. I don't like it. Anyways, sorry. So, I believe Carson Wentz should have won the MVP. I believe he did enough, and he deserves it, and it's the right thing to do. Now, I'm not just saying that because I'm an Eagle fan. It is important to me because I'm an Eagle fan. Okay? Some Eagle fans, they don't care about the awards, all that stuff. They just want Super Bowl. That's all they'll say. I want everything. I want the Super Bowls. I want the MVPs. I want everything that goes along with the players that play for the Eagles. I want what they have coming. So it is important to me as an Eagle fan. It means a lot to me right now to know, you know, if Carson Wentz wins the MVP or not. If he doesn't, I'm going to be upset. But I think he deserves it, you know. And if I wasn't a fan of the Eagles, I still would put him as my MVP. It would only be fair. But as an Eagle fan, yes, it's very important and it's a big deal personally to me. So when Carson, let's say, when he came out of the Seattle game, the Eagles had lost to the Seahawks. At that point in time, Carson was leading the league as far as MVP goes. Most people said he was winning the race. Now, Brady was right on his tail. And then Seattle beat the Eagles, and Russell Wilson made a big push at that moment, that night, to maybe be considered for MVP too. Maybe to steal it or be right side by side with Carson Wentz. So the Eagles lose, Seattle wins. Now Seattle goes, and the rest of the year, they don't play too good. They don't even make the playoffs. Russell Wilson ain't that great. Carson, he goes into the Ram game, a game they needed against a really, really good team, with the division on the line. They go in, they fall behind the Rams quickly. Their defense really can't stop the Rams. They don't really play well. And Carson Wentz carried that team for 3.5 quarters. I think he threw 3 touchdowns that game. And for 3.5 quarters, he was the reason the Eagles were in that game. It was unbelievable performance. It, to me, was the clincher for the MVP. If he would have just played the rest of the year, he would have won it easily. But he got hurt. Now, when he got hurt, this opened the door to many people. To Brady, to Antonio Brown, to Russell Wilson, and to Todd Gurley. Those are the main guys that really benefited from Carson getting hurt. So, Carson gets hurt. Then you have Russell Wilson. He loses to Jacksonville. They get blown out by the Rams. And they wind up not making the playoffs. Okay? So that kind of took him out of the MVP. So Russell Wilson's gone. Then you have Antonio Brown, who I think probably, in my opinion, maybe really had the most legitimate reason to win the MVP. He gets hurt. Doesn't play. Kind of takes him out of it. So now you have Tom Brady. Well, if you look at Tom Brady down the stretch, he wasn't that good. He didn't play that great. He didn't overwhelm. And if you look at what he did, he couldn't even pass Carson in touchdown passes with 3 full games to do it. I don't think Brady did enough to overcome Carson Wentz. Then you have Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley had a great year. Todd Gurley is a great player. But Todd Gurley didn't play in the last game. So he didn't play last week. He played great against Seattle. He made a little push. But I don't think it was enough to justify him winning the MVP. He didn't even play in the last game. So technically, Carson only missed 2 more games than Gurley. Okay? Now, I put on things like NFL Network. I put on things like ESPN. And they say things that just aren't true. They spent on NFL Network, which is, in my opinion, a cowboy propaganda machine, because all they do is have Cowboys on. I think Jerry Jones controls the network, and all they did is talk about Tom Brady and how he should win, and you know, all this stuff. And they kept saying Carson missed 4 games. Mariucci, Carson missed 4 games. And they would just talk about how he missed 4 games. But Joe Montana, back in '89, he missed 3 games and he still won it. He threw like 23 touchdowns that year, or 25, something like that. He had like 23 to 25 touchdowns, maybe 26, with like 15, 16 interceptions. But he had the wins. And they gave him the MVP, Joe Montana, that is. And he missed 3 games. Okay? But they're saying, well, we can't give it to Carson if he only missed 3 games, but he's really missed 4. This is what they were saying on NFL Network. Well, Carson only missed 3 games. He only missed 3 games. What if the Eagles had clinched with 2 weeks to go and they sat him? Would you disqualify him for MVP because they sat him? I don't think so. Carson missed 3 games. He still was second in touchdown passes. His red zone efficiency was astronomical. His third down conversions, especially on 3rd and long, were astronomical. Not to mention, and I hate to say it, but if you look at how Foles has played the last few weeks, you can see what Carson Wentz means to that team. The Eagles have good players, but Carson is not playing with Julio Jones, Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell. He ain't playing with all these humongous weapons. He's playing with good guys that he makes better. Okay? So, the argument on a lot of these networks has been, well, he missed 4 games. But he didn't miss 4 games. He missed 3 games. So, if Joe Montana can miss 3 games, then Carson Wentz should be able to miss 3 games. There's no more important person to a team this year than Carson Wentz was to the Philadelphia Eagles. What he did for that team in his 2nd year deserves recognition and credit. He deserves the MVP. Brady didn't play good down the stretch. Russell Wilson didn't play good down the stretch. Antonio Brown, he got hurt. Gurley made a quick little run, but he didn't play in his last game. He didn't play in his last game either. So he only played 2 more games than Carson. There's no way in hell that Carson Wentz should be taken, the MVP should be taken from him. I saw Joe Montana, the year I'm talking about, win the MVP over Randall Cunningham, who threw 30 touchdowns, 30 or 31 touchdowns, I can't remember exactly, 13 interceptions, I think almost 4,000, if not 4,000 yards, 985 yards rushing, okay, and a bunch of rushing touchdowns. And everybody knew Randall Cunningham should have won MVP, but they gave it to Joe Montana, and they said because Joe Montana won games. The key is, and the MVP is about winning, making your team win. Well, Carson Wentz gave the Eagles the best record in the league. So he fulfills that. He made his team the best record in the league. They were 13-2, and then they sat their starters. I don't even really count the last game. He had second most in touchdowns. He dominated teams. I mean, they dominated teams. They blew everybody out. As soon as he goes out, the offense sputters like it has been. So, yes, Carson Wentz deserves the MVP, and the league would be wrong to screw him over. There's precedent in history of them giving a guy who missed 3 games the MVP. They gave it to Joe Montana. They deserve to give it to Carson Wentz. Now, will they? I don't know, because I think they would love to screw the Eagles. They can't even get their facts right on ESPN, on NFL Network. They're claiming things like he missed 4 games. He missed 3 games. That was the reason they gave on the NFL Network, not kidding you, Steve Mariucci, on why Carson doesn't win it. Because he didn't miss 3 games, he missed 4. Maybe if he missed 3, well, he did miss 3. So, I'm sorry, it pisses me off. Carson deserves the MVP. Dingbats. Alright, so now I want to give you a few other words before I go. This video is turning way too long. I'm sorry. I had to get that out of my system. Alright, so I had to get that out of my system. I know I sound like a dingbat, but I had to say it. Now I want to talk about some other awards. And I want to start off with Defensive Player of the Year. Now, for me, pretty much from week 1, I've had the same guy in mind. Calais Campbell of the Jacksonville Jaguars, I think, has been a force. He's been a force to be reckoned with. That defense has been fantastic. He can play inside, he can play outside, he can play all over. I think he deserves Defensive Player of the Year. Now, I know it's hard for a defensive lineman to kind of win that award. I think maybe Lawrence Taylor was the last guy to do it, but I believe he deserves it. Now, I've had some arguments and discussions about Bobby Wagner from the Seahawks. He had a great year, but they didn't make the playoffs at the end. I think Campbell deserves it. So he's my Defensive Player of the Year. My Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to Marshon Lattimore. Marshon Lattimore, in my opinion, for the Saints, has been more like a 5-year veteran. The guy could really shut people down. He could take a whole side defense and pretty much handle it. And you saw what he meant to them when he was hurt a few games and how that defense looked different. Marshon Lattimore is a stud. He was a stud coming out. I couldn't believe he dropped to the Saints. They got him. They are lucky to have him. He's a great player. To me, he is my Defensive Rookie of the Year. Now, for Offensive Rookie of the Year, I stay on the Saints and I go to the other side of the ball. Alvin Kamara, without question, was the Offensive Player of the Year. Not only Offensive Player of the Year, but he's also my Rookie of the Year. He's my Rookie of the Year. The guy had over 700 yards rushing, over 800 yards receiving. He could do everything. He can catch, he can run. He's fantastic. What a fantastic talent. Now, we knew he was going to be talented coming out of college, but he hadn't had a lot of work. He had injuries, all that kind of stuff. Total stud. Made a huge difference for the Saints. He is the Rookie of the Year without question. Now, I will say this. It's a shame that Deshaun Watson got hurt. The guy had 19 touchdowns, probably would have been over 30. I really feel bad. I really like that kid. I liked him coming out of college. It's a shame he got hurt. He would have definitely been up there, but he missed too many games to win it. And Kamara is deserving. That's my Rookie of the Year. So now I want to talk about the Coach of the Year. The Coach of the Year, in my opinion, there were 3 candidates that I thought should be in consideration. The first guy was Doug Peterson because of the year the Eagles had. You can't, what can you say? They go 13-3, great year. The second guy was Mike Zimmer. Now, Mike Zimmer went 13-3 too with no quarterback pretty much the whole year. So you look at what Mike Zimmer did. Now, I'm a big fan of Mike Zimmer. I've always been. I thought he should have had a coaching job long ago. Did a great job, great defense. He should definitely be in that consideration. And then the third guy is Sean McVay. Now, I'm taking Sean McVay as my Coach of the Year. The reason is because what he took over was pretty much disarray. You had a rookie quarterback who had a bad year. Who knows where his confidence was? You had a team under Jeff Fisher that stunk. That Jeff Fisher totally didn't have anything going right. This guy comes in, great coach, young coach, rebuilds his quarterback's confidence, makes his quarterback a hell of a quarterback. Gets Todd Gurley, gets him to be, and play to his ability, MVP type candidate. Sean McVay, fantastic coach, fantastic. I give him Coach of the Year without question. Without question, he is my Coach of the Year, and it's not even hard to figure out. So now let's talk about comeback player of the year. My comeback player of the year is Keenan Allen. The guy came off an injury last year, comes back, has over 100 catches. He was fantastic talent, and he got better as the year goes. So Keenan Allen is my comeback player of the year. Now, if you talk about a breakout player of the year, I see a breakout player is a guy who wasn't really anything before. Maybe he was good, but he wasn't on the level he was. He comes in, he has a huge year, becomes a star, becomes an elite type player, all pro, that kind of thing. So really, I should give this to Carson Wentz, because Carson Wentz went from a rookie quarterback who threw 14, 15 interceptions, 16 touchdowns, didn't do anything, to 33 touchdowns, one of the elite quarterbacks in the league. So you can definitely make the case for him or Adam Thielen. And I'm going to give this to Adam Thielen because I like to spread the love. Spread the love. So I'm going to give it to Adam Thielen. I think he definitely deserved it. My offensive player of the year is Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley is what the Rams offense is built around. What he does, rushing, out of the backfield, everything, over 1,300 yards. I think he had over 20 total touchdowns. The guy is a stud, total stud, and an MVP candidate. So Todd Gurley would be my offensive player. Now, most of the time, an offensive player of the year is also the MVP, but I'm going to mix it up because I like to spread the love. It's 2018, baby, the year of the dingbat. So we got to spread the love. And then, of course, like I said before, earlier in my video, my big rant, Carson Wentz is still my MVP. I believe he deserves it. And, I think that pretty much covers it. If I'm missing anything, let me know. But I think that's pretty much it. Now, for those that don't know, if you go to my Twitter, at YoPhilly500, I have a poll going, trying to figure out what people would like me to stream this week in terms of game. Trying to do one of the games that will impact the Eagles. So it's either the Falcons, Rams, or the Saints and the Panthers. I will be doing my wild card picks coming up probably tonight or tomorrow. But go to my Twitter, tell me which game you would like to see me live stream, and we'll try to do that. So I know this has turned out to be a long video. Had to get things off my chest. First video of 2018. I feel much better. The year the dingbat rage is on. Take care. Talk to you later. And don't be the dingbat.